The Tuesday morning plenary. We will be started shortly to kick off our plenary this morning. We ask that you point your attention to the stage. Thank you. To kick us off this morning, please welcome to the stage the UNCF ICB Strategy Analyst, Isaiah Hughes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. As the Wiz has already said, my name is Isaiah Hughes, and I want to let you all know that I am a living testament of how an HBCU education can change a young man or woman's life. So I am a native of Atlanta, Georgia, southwest Atlanta, Georgia, not too far from here, Ben Hill, Greenbrier, Zone 4, any natives? So it's about 2007. I'm just graduating from high school, and I am fearful because I'm about to enter into uncharted territory. I am the first person in my entire family lineage to attend college, let alone even thinking about graduation. But I know three things, and these three things are my driving factors. The first thing is that my mother has dedicated her life to me because she's already lost one son to the streets, and she is refusing to lose me as well. The second thing is that I'm even more determined to make sure that my mother's sacrifices are not in vain. And the third thing is that I have a full scholarship to the Tuskegee University. TU, you know. So when I get to Tuskegee, it really didn't set in quite well. I'm very nervous. I'm scared. I'm away from my mother. At this point, I'm an only child. I've always been by my mother's hip. She's always been my guardian angel. But I must press forward. I must press forward. It did not click to me how special Tuskegee is, until about my junior year. I'm an Air Force cadet in Detachment 015. I'm just returning from field training at Maxwell Air Force Base. It's my junior year, and my commander calls me into his office. I'm on track to receive my bachelor's degree in political science. My initial plans were to be a JAG in the Air Force, military lawyer, Judge Advocate General. My commander calls me into his office, and he tells me, Cadet Hughes, I have an obligation for you. You're at the top of your class, and we want you to fly active duty in the United States Air Force. And I said, Colonel English, sir, I don't know anything about planes. I'm planning on being a lawyer. I've been arguing with my fellow cadets for the last 3 years. This is what I do. So instead of trying to give me a fancy speech, he says, Cadet Hughes, take a walk with me. We're walking through the Chappie James Center. We're walking past General Daniel Chappie James, the first black four-star general in the history of the United States Air Force. We walk up to his uniform. I'm looking at General Davis's uniform, and he lets me know. He's looking me square in the eyes, and he says, son, this is bigger than you. The soil that you walk on has been fertilized by the blood, sweat, and tears of the men and women who came before you. These men made sacrifices so that you could have the option to fly or not. And I want you to make the decision on whether you're going to answer that call or not. I know that you're scared, but this is a legacy to uphold. We need black pilots, and this is Tuskegee. We need black pilots, and you are number one in your class. So you can go to law school if you want to, but I would charge you to answer this call and uphold this legacy. And as I'm filled with goosebumps, and as tears are running down my face, at that very moment, that's when I understood the importance of an HBCU. It's legacy. People who have made sacrifices who came before me. So I committed myself. I graduated from Tuskegee in 2011. On that very same day, I also commissioned into the Air Force as a second lieutenant. In 2 months, I'm in Florida, scared, once again, uncharted territory, But now I'm a little bit more prepared because HBCUs teach you something. They give you something. It's just special. It's hard to describe. Resilience, tenacity, discipline, commitment. So I'm in there, my fellow flight mates, they have degrees in aeronautical science, aerospace engineering. Here I am, political science. And they look, political science. And I say, okay, you must not know who I am. So 2 years later, after flight school, I get shipped off to Kadena Air Base, Okinawa, Japan, and I flew AWACS, active duty, United States Air Force, until I was a captain. But the moral of the story is, I have such a love for Tuskegee. My fellows at UNCF, they wear all HBCU regalia, and I refuse to. And I tell them, I wear nothing but Tuskegee on my chest. Nothing. I can't put on another sweatshirt or I love Claflin, I love Dr. Harris, but I wear nothing but Tuskegee, not out of arrogance, but it means so much to me because it gave me a gift. So today, I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing a fellow Tuskegee alum. Tuskegee University is the only institution in this country that is a part of the two major organizations, which is the Thurgood Marshall College Fund and the United Negro College Fund. So today, I am going to introduce the president and CEO of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, Dr. Harry Williams.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? Hey, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this very, very important conference, Unite. I am so grateful to Michael Lomax and his leadership in providing this incredible opportunity to bring us all together, because we are together. As mentioned, I'm the president and CEO of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, an organization that represents the public historically black colleges and universities in this country. But we work together. Michael and I have made it very clear that there is no distinction between UNCF and TMCF. When you mention HBCUs, people think about all HBCUs, and that's why we're here together. You get more when you are together. I promise you. You get more when you are together. So I am living my best life. I get up every single day. Before I go to bed, when I get up in the morning, I'm thinking about HBCUs. There's nothing better. We have an incredible opportunity at this time, at this moment, to continue to elevate and lift up our institutions. Because they mean so much to this country. They mean so much to our students. They just mean so much. I am also living my best life because both of my kids have graduated from college. And both of them graduated from Howard University. And my oldest son, I'm living my best life because he passed the CPA examination. And I shared with President Newman today, I said, we all passed that examination, because when you're going through something like that, everybody in the household got to deal with it. So he passed that. But I'm also happy that his wife just graduated from law school at North Carolina Central. So you can see why I'm happy, because I got money that's going to come to my pocket now. But it's because of the HBCU community. It's because of that legacy that is so important. And today, on this panel that you're going to hear students talk about that. You're going to hear people talk about the importance of HBCUs and why we're here. But I am so excited about the future. I'm so optimistic about the future when it comes to our schools. We have something to do that is so important. That we have a responsibility to make sure that these institutions are sustainable, that these institutions will be around for more than 150 years. Our founder, Dr. N. Joyce Payne, when she had the vision to create Thurgood Marshall 35 years ago, she had a bold vision. And that's what HBCU students, that's what we all are. You're bold. She had a bold vision. Can you imagine 35 years ago having a vision to walk up to the Supreme Court and walk into Justice Marshall's office and asked him if he would lend his name to this organization. That's what our founder did, because she felt it was important that we had a name that was so powerful, a name that would resonate around the world, that would create opportunities for door openers, for students, so that you can get amazing internship opportunities with major Fortune 500 companies in this country. And when our founder approached Justice Marshall 35 years ago, and when she asked him if he would lend his name, she reminded him that he was a two-time HBCU graduate, graduated top of his class at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, and then went on to Howard University. And when he went to Howard University, because he's from Baltimore, he wanted to go to the University of Maryland. But because of racism in this country, we didn't have the privilege to go there. So he went to Howard. And when he went to Howard, he graduated top of his class. And then he started working with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And he argued before the highest court in the land 32 times and won 29 cases. I was here in Atlanta here recently participating in an event at the Atlanta University Center with Dr. Lomax and George French with their inauguration. And I had the privilege of running into another giant, Andrew Young. Andrew Young, Ambassador Andrew Young, is still moving, still talking about the importance of HBCUs, Howard grad. And he reminded me, he said, young man, you're carrying a name that's so big. I want you to know how important it is. And I said, yes, sir, I'm listening. And he said, young man, I had the privilege of being exposed to Justice Marshall when I was 9 years old. He said, when I was 9 years old, my mother said there's a man that's down at the court that's representing us, and you need to go in there and hear him. This is Andrew Young telling me this story. And he said, when I went in there and I looked, and I saw this giant, and I saw this attorney citing cases and having these young, he said, young white lawyers run back to their room to get their law books. And when they bring the law books out there, Justice Marshall would say, turn to page 35, top right-hand corner. That's the name of the case I just cited. That's how bad he was. He said, when I saw that, that changed my life. So Justice Marshall, be able to continue to carry his legacy of excellence, black excellence at the highest you can go. Being able to get up every day and knowing that that's the responsibility that we all have. So make sure that our students have opportunities to run into a Justice Marshall and to know the importance of where these institutions, how these institutions have made a critical mark in the lives of these individuals. And by using Justice Marshall's name, by using his name at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, we've been able to raise over $500 million by using his name. By using Justice Marshall's name, we've been able to partner with over 150 corporations and counting. By using his name, we've been able to provide internship opportunities for black students attending our institutions. Institutions like Boeing, Apple, Medtronic, you name the corporation, because a lot of our students will be not only first generation, the first to graduate from college, but the first to go into corporate America. And when we're the first, sometimes you need a little help, and it's okay to get help, to create opportunities. It's okay to provide those windows for you. And so that's what we do at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. That's what we do at UNCF. That's what we do in providing. And there's nothing more important to me. There's nothing more important than this work, So I get up every single day, and I encourage all of you in your work, in the work that you're doing. When you find that passion, when you find the reason for you getting up in the morning and knowing it's bigger than you, this is bigger than you, that you're planting seeds for others. This is about us. This is about us. And when it's about us, you should have a whole different step, a whole different walk, because it's about the legacy of our community. And we have an opportunity, because we have more partners than we have ever had in the history of HBCUs. And they're positive partners, people who say, I want to help. I want to find ways to help. And so therefore, it's our responsibility to say, yes, we're going to let you help. We're going to let you provide these opportunities for our young people and provide scholarships so we can continue to lift our community up. There's a lot of work. I was in church on Sunday in North Carolina participating in a graduation program, and a deacon came up to me and he said, you have a lot of work ahead of you. And I said, yes, sir. He said, but thank you. Thank you for the work. We need it. I got chill bumps. So when you hear people say that you're doing good work, know that you're doing good work for our community and take that responsibility to heart. And I promise you, life will be great. Things will happen for you personally because you know you're doing something that's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. So thank you for this opportunity to come and speak to you for a few minutes. I'm excited about the conference. Unfortunately, I got an 11 o'clock flight out of here, but I'm going to hear about it. But I just wanted to come here today when Michael invited me and Ed invited me to come to be a part of this important conference. I couldn't let that go because I know how important it is for our community to keep doing this work and keep lifting up our schools. So I thank you. I want to say thanks to all the presidents who are here, the chancellors, the former chancellors, because it's leadership. Leadership matters. Leadership matters. So when you're leading because it's bigger than you. Again, thank you and have a great meeting. I look forward to seeing you in the community. Thank you.
All right, I'm back. Good morning again. So I have a rhetorical question. Please answer this internally, mentally. How much do you know about our nation's HBCUs? And you'd be surprised. Well, I could argue you all know better than I do. It's not a lot of people know a lot about our HBCUs. But I have a gift for you. I am going to bring up my fellow workers, I guess. But UNCF ICB program managers, Morgan Alexander and Dr. Will Lucas.
Thank you, Isaiah.
Good morning. Can they hear us? There we go. We up. Now, that first one was kind of, did you hear him, Morgan?
I did not hear them. Will said, good morning, everyone.
There we go. They're up now. Yeah, y'all know those people at those conferences. That's their job to wake y'all up, get y'all in gear, right? Right? That's us this morning, okay? So that's what we're going to do today. Now, if you're here for the first time, raise your hand today. Today's your first day. Welcome to UNCF Unite 2022. Give yourselves a round of applause. Good job. Now, if you've been here all week, we want to thank you, okay? Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for your energy, your engagement. All of the institutions, guys, we're really loving it. All of our participants, all of our partners, you guys are doing an exceptional job yourselves. Now, we actually want to try you, though, a little bit because you've been doing such a good job. We want to know how much y'all actually know about this HBCU work. Who in our audience knows the most about HBCU history, black higher education history? Morgan, you want to let them know what we're getting ready to get into?
Yes, I will. All right, so what we're going to do, we have two of our colleagues in the audience. Pauline is over here to the back, Miss Pauline Warrior, and then we have Keith Green over here, this other side. So what we're going to do, we're going to call out a couple of questions. The first person to raise their hand, they will come, bring you the mic. If you answer the question correctly, you will get a prize. We all love prizes, right?
I love a prize.
You like a prize? I like a prize.
I love a prize.
Okay.
All right, so let's get into it.
You got your clicker there?
Yep. The first institution of higher education in the United States was founded in 1636. When did the first black person graduate from an American college or university? That's an easy one.
Who knows it?
Well, raise your hands.
Don't all
Somebody
speak
know it.
at once.
There is, there is a wrong answer. I was going to say.
Yeah, there is
no wrong answer.
All
Come
right.
on, y'all. I just gave. Yeah, right.
You got a few seconds. Anybody want to take it? Anybody
Some
wanna
guesses.
try?
Guesses don't hurt, guys.
Yeah,
guesses
guesses
don't
don't
hurt. Trivia.
Want to see a hand?
Uh-oh, we got somebody over here.
I think people are phoning friends.
Yep. I think.
Lifelines, all of it. You saw a hand with?
Yeah, I thought I saw a hand. Keith, we got some hands over there?
We have nothing.
Oh, we
What?
got one back here.
There we go.
Pauline, we got one back here.
I just gave y'all a compliment about the engagement. We got to keep it up.
Okay, you can just blurt it out, ma'am. Oh wait, did you use your phone? I think I see her phone. You on Google? That's okay. That's all good. You know what? 'Cause that's how you do it.
She got caught.
John Chavis.
What was? Can you repeat that, please?
John Chavis. 1799.
One more. John Chavis is not the correct answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a little harsh. Never mind.
All right. that was a really mean buzzer, Morgan. All right, we got one more guess. One more guess.
One more guess. All right, go ahead and give him the answer, Will.
All right, we give him the answer. 1823. Alexander Lucius Twilight. That's a strong name.
That is a name.
Who graduated from Middlebury College in 1823 and went on to become a pastor, educator, and the first African American to serve as a state legislator in the United States of America. Ready, Morgan?
I'm ready. All right, we ready for the next question? All right. So there are over 3,000 degree-granting institutions in the United States. How many HBCUs are there? I saw this hand first here. You can go ahead and stand up and call it out for me, brother.
Hey! My man. Good job, Brother Brown. Good job. Good job.
All right. And look, I was going
102.
to say, it's plastered all outside there, so I'm sure
Yeah,
everybody
that
knows
one
it.
almost didn't count.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, okay, sorry. History behind that. So in 1965, the Higher Education Act of 1965 was deemed that institutions founded before 1964 were historically black colleges and universities. A little history there for you.
Appreciate that, Morgan.
All right, Will.
All right, next up. The term HBCU was codified in the Higher Education Act of 1965. Historically black colleges and universities are located in how many U.S. states and territories? Ooh, we digging now. We digging now. I saw some faces.
How many states and U.S. territories?
Some faces were like, I know this one.
Any takers?
Brother Brown, you hot? You hot? You ain't got this one?
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Dang. I got a hand? No? No?
Oh, is that a hand in the red back there?
No, I'm
Okay,
just trying.
Keith,
I'm just
behind
trying.
you. The young lady in the red? Yes.
Oh, 2 hands on this side.
I'll say 28.
Roughly. Roughly. All right, one more. We got one over here, Pauline.
Oh, wait. No. Okay, you want to not do it? No, okay. All right, go ahead. Keith, I think was another hand back there? Okay.
I'm going to go with 36.
All right, Will, give him the answer.
All right. 21.
21.
Oh, this just made me think about something. As I look at these states, guys, we got a lot of states in this room.
I think we do.
We got a lot of states in this room. Here goes a good idea, guys. When I say a state, if your school's in that state, just make a little bit of noise or just scream your school, okay? If you see your state on this screen, just scream your school when I say it, okay? So, 102 accredited HBCUs exist in 19 states. Alabama. Here we go, Stillman in the house. Arkansas. I saw some Philander Smith. PSC, woo! Delaware. All right, good deal. Where we at? Georgia. Yeah, hometown. Here we go.
Home team, here we go.
Where we at? Florida. There we go. Edward Waters repping. Kentucky.
Yay,
Kentucky. Louisiana. There we go.
All right,
Okay.
baby.
Maryland. Hey, that's my home state. Shout out to y'all. Mississippi. There we go, down in the feet. Missouri.
All right.
Missouri.
Let's go Missouri.
North Carolina. Woo! Good stuff. There we go. Ohio. Hey, Central State repping. Okay, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yes.
Pennsylvania. Okay. South Carolina.
South Kakalaki.
One time. Is that Benedict over there? Did I hear Benedict? Oh, I'm alumnus. I just wanted to ask.
The South Carolina cluster.
Y'all cool?
Yeah.
Y'all cool too. Tennessee. Okay. Texas. Oh. Austin,
Yes,
all the way
yes.
from Austin. Texas. Hey,
Yes.
better be. Virginia. Okay, NSU. West Virginia. West
We're gonna
Virginia.
get them on board.
West Virginia. Plus DC and the Virgin Islands.
Yes.
Good deal. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that participation.
All right. So our last question of the day. HBCUs are 3% of degree granting institutions in the United States. Let me finish my question, sir. Daryl Ann. She over here like, we got to answer. I ain't even told the question yet. Okay. They confer what percentage of black bachelor's degrees in STEM areas? All right, young man, you can answer the question now. I'm done.
27.
Did he?
You're close.
Oh. I thought he hit it.
Anybody? Oh, I see a hand over there. He was close, ma'am, so you get closer.
She got this.
She got it?
No, I got faith in her, though.
Go for it. 25%? That was closer.
This keeps going because it's hotter. We got hotter. One more.
Okay, we got one more.
One more.
Did you say higher?
No,
Okay, I'm going to use the process of elimination.
20.
20 is too
Can
far.
I have one?
All right, okay, we got one more. Oh, my girl Latrice.
I'm going to say 30%.
Okay. It's going to be 24%. Oh, that was good. Good tries, good answers.
You did. You was close.
You was
25
close.
and 27. All right, here we go.
That's good median.
All right, go ahead, Will.
All right, so here we go. HBCUs confer 24% of bachelor's degrees to black students in STEM areas: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Anybody was a STEM major?
All
Yeah.
right.
Shout out to the STEM majors. I hated science, so that was not me. I was a mass comm major. What did you study?
Anthropology and sociology.
That sounds fun, too.
What?
But here we go, guys. We really hope that this activity got you revved up, got you ready to go for the day. And Morgan, pass it on. Do we have?
Yes.
There we go.
So to share more about how HBCUs, or how we can help HBCU students and alumni, we want to introduce to you the UNCF Director of Outreach and Recruitment, Ms. Mary Williams.
I need to click.
This one? Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning. I am so glad to be here with you today just to talk with you about some opportunities that exist on ways that we can help our students, our alumni, and the community as a whole. So I work with Outreach and Recruitment at UNCF. I'm going to share with you very briefly who we are, what we do, who we support, and how all of us can connect. So the outreach and recruitment component of UNCF is a part of scholarships and programs. You probably know that at UNCF we offer more than 400 programs annually for students. They include scholarships, paid internships, fellowships, and yes, career opportunities. In addition, We support more than 10,000 students on an annual basis. UNCF is second only to the federal government in providing scholarships to students of color with financial need. Now I'm going to say that again. UNCF is second only to the federal government in providing scholarships for students of color with need. So you know about our graduation rates and how we're focused on retention at our schools and for our students. That's who we are at UNCF. And our role in outreach and recruitment is really to share that information with the community. We host webinars on a monthly basis through the academic year. We start in September and we end in April. So the second Tuesday of every month, we host a webinar where anyone in the community can participate, and they can learn about the opportunities that are open and available through UNCF at that time. In addition, we've added a portion to work with educators in faith-based organizations so that they can make sure that their constituents who are high school students looking for scholarships, students in college, and even individuals who are seeking career opportunities or to change careers can connect to UNCF. We meet with educators, hosting webinars. July 19th is our first one for the financial aid officers of schools across the country so that they can disseminate that information to their constituents. And we can answer the questions about the funding opportunities as well. We host webinars for companies. We craft proposals, and if they choose a proposal that includes a webinar to talk about the work they do and how they can support the students and alum, those are ways that we really inform and educate, because we have to constantly do that. The more people we reach out to and talk about the opportunities, for every one, there is what, 20 more who don't know about us? And it's important to make sure we are reaching out to the community as a whole and ensuring they're aware of all that we offer. Who do we support? Family members. On our webinars, we have parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles who are on there to learn. We have students, high school students, college students. We have alum because we're talking about college careers. We have mentors. We have influencers and educators. And that should touch each one of you in this room. I am sure the roles that I mentioned, every one of you represent at least one of those roles. So this word cloud tells you who we support. I'm here this morning to invite you to stay connected to us. On your tables, you'll see a flyer with a QR code. You also see the QR code on the screen. When you connect with that QR code, it's just a very brief document, one page, where you can share your information and how you want to stay connected. Do you want to know about our webinars that are taking place on a monthly basis so that you can share with your constituents? Are you a part of a faith-based organization and you want to make sure that you know about these events that we're holding so that you have the information to share with your church family? Do you, as an influencer or a professor in a specific area, want to know when we have opportunities for your students? We have programs that are coming up for just music and literature. We have programs that are for students in psychology, and we have almost all majors. And you're going to hear from your students, guess what? I can't find a scholarship in my major. How many of you have heard that? Anybody? Well, we have opportunities that are open that have no majors associated with it. It is so important just to share the information. Networking is key. We have to work together to continue to inform and to share the information of the opportunities that exist. So I'm inviting you today to connect with us. Take a picture of that QR code. Tell us how you want to connect. Because here's what we want to stop. We don't want the students who can't register for class because they don't have money, because they didn't apply for opportunities. We don't want that high school student who can't go to college because they don't have the money and they didn't know where to look for it. Each of you get those questions all the time about where are the opportunities, where are the funding. So join us so we can share that information with your constituents. And as you are preparing the students with their resumes and to make sure that they can complete a strong application, we're going to be giving the information so they know what they can do to connect and be a part of the more than 10,000 students that are getting scholarships on an annual basis. I hope you accept my invitation because, as you know, it does take a village. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
All right, another hand of applause for Ms. Williams, please. So one of the biggest parts of my testament is that full scholarship to Tuskegee. And it is important that I stress that because without that scholarship, essentially all hope is lost. And many of you have faced that same deterrent, and that is the biggest deterrent that many of our young black men and women who aspire to obtain a college education, they face this on a regular basis. And again, you all know this better than I. You all are entrenched in the work. And these resources are important in order for us to fulfill the promise of black higher education. That is this year's summit's mantra, the promise of black higher education. So we want to hear, I have a special presentation, we want to hear from our administrators and our students and our faculty about what is the promise of black higher education.
I stand before you today as the Vice President of the United States of America and as a proud graduate of an HBCU to say there is no limit to your capacity for greatness.
I think the promise of black higher education is liberation. I think it's freedom. I think it's independence. And I actually now see HBCUs not just as extraordinary domestic resources. I see them as global resources. Because HBCUs have been taking people from extreme poverty, extreme poverty, and lifting them up, giving them the tools to lift themselves up and their communities up.
The promise of black higher education is steeped in this idea that we are equal. We're valued contributors to this world, to these United States.
As an African American Studies major, we've studied a lot about the history of injustice in America, and going to an HBCU was really important for me because I wanted to be in an environment that was built for me to succeed. The promise of black higher education is to create talent, black talent, that not only enriches the black community, but every community that those people are a part of.
The value that HBCUs and other black colleges place on different identities and provide for a sense of belonging, we fundamentally believe that HBCUs and other PBIs will disrupt the exclusive nature of higher education in a fundamental way that will lead to better outcomes for all of us.
We are among the most diverse higher education ecosystems in the world, and I think that's the strength of the American higher education system. The promise of black higher education is opportunity. An opportunity to define yourself, an opportunity to pursue a degree of study that will change, quite frankly, not only your life, but the life of your family and your community.
What is unique about HBCUs and PBIs is that we actually provide a different level of nurture. We provide a different level of support to our students that they simply do not get at other institutions. we take students to their next level of excellence. That is what happens at HBCUs.
We strive on hope. We strive on exceeding and excelling in academics, exceeding and excelling in careers.
It's just nice to see, you know, my kind of people around, you know, just being around all the good vibes, all the fun, all the different things that's going around campus. It's just so vibrant.
The promise of Black higher education is really educating the masses.
The promise for me is being our ancestors' wildest dream.
Brighter opportunities. Anything is possible, regardless of race. But as a Black African American woman, I know that I am able to achieve that because I attend an HBCU.
We are never alone. We are.
Thank you all. Please welcome the moderator of our student panel, award-winning journalist and author and writer at Diverse Issues in Higher Education, Dr. Jamal Watson.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to moderate and engage in discussion with students. They're the reason why we're here and the reason why we do what we do. So please join me in welcoming our student panelists. We have Paulina Weber, Kailie Williams, and Chauncey Whaley. So thank you all for being here and joining in conversation, and we're going to look forward to engaging in dialogue and certainly have some time for some questions as well. So, you know, one of the things we talk about often in higher ed is return on investment, you know, thinking about how colleges and universities can respond to the growing needs of students. I wanted to ask you to tell us a little bit about what HBCU you attend, where it's located, and why you decided to go to a historically Black college and university, predominantly Black institution. Why was that important for you? So we'll start with you.
Alrighty. I am Paulina Weber. I serve as the UNCF National Pre-Alumni Council President, and I attend the illustrious Dillard University in New Orleans, Louisiana. So a little bit about why I chose Dillard. Background, I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I grew up on the campus of Philander Smith College. My mom's an alum, my grandmother was an alum, and we go to church on the campus. So I spent a lot of time at an HBCU, and I saw what Philander did for a lot of students, and I knew that I wanted that for myself. I just didn't want to stay at home, so I went to our rival school. I went to Dillard for the HBCU community. Dr. Kimbrough takes pride. He says that I came for him, which is partially true. And then also the Tri-C United Methodist Church were why I chose Dillard.
Wow, that's great. Kailie?
Hi, I am Kailie Williams, Miss National UNCF, and I attend Wiley College. Well, when I was choosing the HBCU, I feel like the HBCU chose me because originally I was not supposed to go to college because I went to a high school, and I'm coming from a single-parent household with low income, and since my twin sister and I went to a college prep high school, that was already a lot on my mom's plate. So in high school, I was playing volleyball because I originally wanted a full-ride scholarship to play volleyball. Like, that was my ultimate goal. And so my years of high school playing volleyball, and I come to my senior year,
and all of my classmates are signing with colleges, universities, and I'm still waiting my turn. And so like 2 months before school ends, I get a call and saying how the Wiley volleyball coach wants me and my sister to come try out for him. So we tried out for him, and then on that same day, I was offered a full ride.
Oh, wow. And did I hear you say that you're Miss UNCF, Miss National UNCF? Let's give her a round of applause. That's huge. That's huge. Chauncey?
Greetings. My name is Chauncey Whaley, and I attend the oldest HBCU in the state of Florida, the Edward Waters University, founded in 1866. The reason why I chose HBCU, first, family legacy. Out of my father's son, I am the third of 4 to attend HBCU. Two of my oldest brothers graduated from Morris Brown, and also my sister is an alumnus of then Bethune-Cookman College, now Bethune-Cookman University. And it was easy for me to choose my HBCU because it's not a blessing every day that you have a HBCU that's so historic in the state of Florida, that's actually in your city of Jacksonville, Florida. So knowing the HBCU culture, growing up in the HBCU culture, being experienced around the HBCU culture, that's something I wanted for myself.
No, thank you. Interesting hearing about all of your experiences. You know, one of the things that I know administrators here have been focused on over the last 2.5 years is really the COVID-19 pandemic and how it's impacted higher ed in general, but certainly many of our institutions. Can you all talk about what your experiences have been like as students going through COVID? What have been some of the challenges? Have there been any opportunities for you as well? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh God. So for us, I think in New Orleans we had an interesting bout with COVID. At first, we were all up in arms about COVID and returning to campus, XYZ. And then we were hit with hurricanes back to back while fighting the pandemic. So that became an issue of itself. And I think the biggest opportunity that came from that was community. I think we saw that we just needed each other more than anything. And although it looked like everything was going wrong, I saw students come together like no other. I saw relationships between students and faculty grow because we realized that we're really all in this together and that we really need each other and we needed each other to support and to cooperate with each other in order to get through it.
So a real sense of resilience as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Great.
Definitely.
Yes.
So during the pandemic, Wiley shut down for 1.5 years, I believe. And it was hard on all of us, especially faculty, students, and staff, because we have teachers who weren't tech savvy, and they now had to learn how to teach us online. But that also brought procrastination among students. But during the pandemic, it also had its opportunity for Wiley as it gained additional funding, and that has helped the university grow, the college grow.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody always know the challenges of what the pandemic presented ourselves. But I've always been raised and taught when there's a challenge, there are opportunities. So for the HBCUs, there's been so many opportunities that has come back from COVID and the pandemic. For Edward Waters University, we had an opportunity to grow during the pandemic when a lot of people expected us to fail. We increased in the number of enrollees at Edward Waters University. We did great work as far as restoration of certain buildings. But most of all, the student body was blessed to get funding that was not there before. But because of a pandemic in the United States government helping us out, we receive assistance when we need personal needs. We receive assistance in other matters. So because of a pandemic, it's been a blessing. So I don't see the challenges. I saw the opportunities and the blessings that the pandemic presented. And I'm just glad that it all happened for all of us in that perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the collective sense of resiliency that you talked about, leaning in and working together, I think is so very, very important. When you think about, this is a rare occasion in many ways because we have so many HBCU leaders gathered in this space today. And I guess when you think about your own student experience, I'm curious, what would you want leaders here to know about what your experience has been like at an HBCU, and perhaps some things that they might want to focus on or think about moving forward.
Wow, okay. I think the first thing that comes to mind is communication. I think that's the key to any good relationship, and especially with administrators and students. That's something that we're pretty intentional about at Dillard with our student leaders and communicating with our administrators and getting that information back to the student body. And then something that I've noticed that many students just don't understand how institutions are run. I was blessed to have an opportunity to intern with UNCF ICB my freshman year, and it was at the peak of COVID, summer 2020, and so I was behind the scenes and I saw what really went into making institutions run and how to get them back open and what was going on. And so it changed my perspective, but I realized not everyone had that opportunity. So when we returned, there were so many questions and confusion, and students still have questions and are still confused because they really do not understand the work that our administrators put in. And so I think just kind of communicating those things would help both sides going forward. And I think that's also been a challenge. And then trying to be in the middle of students and administrators and trying to make that communication with people that sometimes don't understand, but you know, try anyway.
And of course, your president is very well known on social media and using that communication forum, which is so important. I was just also wondering, do you think social media could be an avenue for leaders? Certainly there are some presidents who say, I don't want to do social media because it's just not something I do, but is that a way to connect with that younger generation?
Absolutely, and especially now since COVID and how everything is virtual and online, I think that social media can definitely be used for good in higher ed and connecting with those students, because students aren't picking up magazines about higher education. They're not reading articles unless they're linked to something online or if someone shares something with them on Twitter. So I think that that'll definitely be a key asset.
Kailie?
Although Wiley has such a rich history and legacy, I believe that we must continue to evolve and continue to step on the current trends. But not also that, but our alumni. They are the products of the institution, and what better way to contribute to the institution than an individual who benefited from the institution?
Yeah. Chauncey?
Last night, as I was sitting over there, a question was raised. What does a HBCU college president or administrator look like in the 21st century? And you got asked the questions, what's happening right now in our society today? We have social justice issues. And one of the things that's most powerful about our administrator is cultivating a student body to let them know that you are not the future, you are not the tomorrow, but you are the right now. Because a lot of them don't realize they have power in their hands right now, walking on the campus of a historic black college and university. Once an administrator and president instills that in them from day number one, you change their mindset for what they used to know to now walking in the power they never knew they had before. And the reason why I said that, because I knew what I had. Until I stepped into a HBCU, I realized the greatness that's been inside of me. And those administrators and my college president, Dr. Faison, who I love so very much, he poured into us. I realized I am more than what I thought I was. And that's the empowerment of an HBCU administrator, college president in the 21st century, getting those next generation of leaders who are going to make impact for 40, 50, and 60 years for the next generation.
Yeah, no, well said. Thank you so much for that. It's very, very important. Talk a little bit about what you all plan to do. I know many of you are rising seniors. You're going to be graduating soon. I'm just curious to know what is the next step for you.
Law school.
Law school, okay.
Yes.
Give it up for law school, yeah. Okay.
So I'm a part of Dillard's pre-law program, and I am currently preparing for the law school admissions process. I've taken the LSAT, and so now I'm preparing to apply for schools in the fall.
Excellent, excellent. Congratulations.
Hey, I'm a biology major, and so I'm thinking about getting another bachelor's degree in nursing and attending nursing school.
Okay.
I am a licensed preacher in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, so we already know what's about to get ready to happen next. After my undergrad, I will be attending seminary. I have two in mind right now. Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union University, or I could be attending ITC. I have not made a decision yet, so I'm weighing my options right now, putting my application in the fall. And after I get my Master's of Divinity, I want to choose to get a doctorate in higher education, because my goal is to do what you all do, be an HBCU college administrator or attain and become a president of HBCU one day.
Wow, that's absolutely wonderful, and that's the goal, right? The goal is, how do we create succession plans? How do we get other young people interested in continuing in this tradition? So that's wonderful. The theme of today's conference is delivering on the promise of Black higher education, and I'm wondering, how would you assess where we are in terms of Black higher education and our institution's ability to deliver on that promise?
Wow. I think we're in a good place when you look at where we've started. Of course, there's always room for growth, but in my opinion, I see the promise as a safe space for Black students to cultivate relationships and skills so that they are prepared for the world that awaits them. And I think we're doing a good job at that. I know there are opinions about Black institutions and how they don't prepare you for the real world, but I watched students walk through Dillard and go and do amazing things all of my life. I watched students walk through Philander and go and do amazing things, so I knew for sure that that was false. And I think that promise is being fulfilled, and it will continue to grow.
Yeah, that's great. Kailie?
When I hear the promise of Black higher education, to me that means what we're doing now is preparing us for our future. And so kind of, for example, like planting a seed, you plant a seed and it becomes a tree, and future generations can have shade, paper, etc. And these trees has been through trials and tribulations. So who would have ever thought that something so significant to me can be as important to someone else as well?
Thank you. Chauncey?
I don't appreciate how our queen just went and stole my sermon away from me. It's a joke, it's a joke. The promise of higher Black education. This is a beautiful question, because a promise is something that is guaranteed. It was guaranteed because of our history. Those who paved the way. Now, as a scholar at HBCU, not only I'm living in a promise, but I have a responsibility, which is so important. My responsibility now is, because of the promise of Black education at a higher institution, that I share the wealth with those behind me. So are we there yet? No, because if we were there yet, we wouldn't have problems. We wouldn't have situations that we need to think about. But because of those situations, we are still living the promise, because the best is yet ahead.
Thank you so much. There was an article, many of you may have seen it this week, in the New York Times on the front page, written by my colleague Erica Green, where she talked about how HBCUs have become the destination spot for many Black students. The question isn't necessarily going to a predominantly white institution, it's deciding and being very intentional about going to an HBCU. And certainly those numbers have risen, particularly when we think about, again, our vice president, who is a graduate of the HBCU, so many other prominent leaders. Does that surprise you? Are you happy to see that? I imagine you are happy that so many young people graduating from high school are saying we want to go to an HBCU?
Oh, that makes me so happy, so happy. I actually have a presentation this week where some of the board members for the MPAC board will be presenting to high schoolers, trying to encourage them to do that same thing and make decisions for HBCUs. But I think that the time that we're in our world just calls for us to realize that we need each other. And so I'm just glad that high schoolers are realizing the legacies of our HBCUs and seeing the products of our HBCUs and wanting to be a part of that. So it makes me very, very happy.
And they're safe spaces, right? I mean, that's also really important, that there's a sense of community and you know people, and it becomes safe and comfortable, I think, in many ways, yes?
Growing up, me and my sister and I, we went to a predominantly white high school. And so you could imagine being a little black girl amongst all these other people. And it was like I didn't feel like I fit in. And so when I found out that Wiley was an HBCU, I was like so excited to be around the same people who had the same cultural backgrounds, experiences as I did.
Yeah, no, that's great. Chauncey?
I am excited that they are making this choice because they realize what it produces. We see it on TV, we see it in magazines, we see it in our movies, we see it in our culture. I believe in every place and fabric of the United States of America, when you look at everything, there's someone behind the scenes that's a product of the HBCU that let them know HBCUs are power, and they want that type of power. I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint of the notoriety that's happened, Jackson State University, everybody want to be next to Coach Prime now. So things like that is trying to enlighten opportunities to HBCUs, allowing the high school students saying, the power that I got at PWI, I can get that same power and more at HBCU, because I'm among a community not only that look like myself, but I'm around family that's going to push me to places that I never knew I could even go. Because I didn't make the choice to go to HBCU, I would not be on this stage today. I had to pause and tell God, thank you this morning. Because if I didn't go to Edward Waters University, would I be here today? And because I go to HBCU and these opportunities to speak on panels like this and travel and connect with others, it's the testament of power of HBCU. So I know that someone is watching me today and saying, I want that opportunity. Only HBCU can give you that.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add, I love that.
So, really quickly, to interrupt you all, thank you for that rich dialogue. We do have some questions from the audience that we want to get to before we end this, right? And we're going to start with the first question we got from the audience. What do you wish your college offered that they don't offer now?
Anyone want to take that?
A law school.
Law school. Because you'd stay there, right?
Yeah, I'd stay right where I'm at.
Which, again, is a great testament for your institution. The fact that you want to continue there is beautiful. Yes?
I believe Wiley needs a nursing program because that would bring in more students, because you have a lot of recruits that come and they always say, well, do y'all have a nursing program? It was like, no, but we do have a biology major. But they're like, oh, that's not the same thing. So I think Wiley would benefit from a nursing program, and it would allow them to bring in more students.
Well, Edward Waters University became a university last year, and we just launched our second master's program. So I'm going to say two things, one on the undergrad and one on a grad level. Undergrad, I would wish that they would have a political science program at Edward Waters University. Mm-hmm. And second, on a graduate level, a divinity program. That would be so great because there's not too many seminaries in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. And with a cluster of young preachers in the Jacksonville area, so they don't have to go so far. They decide they want to stay home. They have a place where they can stay home at. So those are my two wish lists.
Great.
Thank you all for that response. We have a couple more questions we're going to get to. So this question is pertaining to high school, right? During high school, did your school counselors or teachers encourage you at all to attend the HBCU?
No. I was pretty adamant. I was encouraged to apply to some PWIs, and I applied to one, and that was only because I was applying for a scholarship, and I knew the people behind the scholarship, and I knew it would make me look a little more diverse if I had a PWI listed, but I had no intentions of attending, and I was kind of given that talk, oh, you can do better than that, and I scolded one of my counselors, like, no, that's not what we're doing here, and I'm going to do well where I'm going, and so I had that hard conversation, but I had to make that decision for myself, and luckily I had my mom behind me and supporting me for wherever I wanted to attend.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Going off of what Paulie said, my college counselor, he didn't really bring up HBCUs. It was more PWIs as well, and I was applying to more PWIs because those were the people who were interested in me for playing volleyball. But then Wiley called, and I was just like, yes, I'm going to take this offer.
Well, I guess I have a different perspective because not only I go to HBCU, but I had an opportunity to go to a historic high school in Jacksonville, Florida, known as William M. Rain Senior High School. And most of our teachers, they was HBCU graduates. So you go in their rooms, you'll see all these HBCUs on the wall. So they cultivated an environment for us to make the decision, you know you can go to HBCU. So I saw it all the time. So it was a no-brainer for me. So they fostered that into us since our freshman year in high school. So yes, they encouraged us deeply. Go to HBCU, you'll love it.
Awesome. So we have time for one more question. We're going to go to one more question. Did you participate in any career readiness, experiential learning opportunities at your institution?
Yes. So I'm a part of a program called LEAD, Legal Education Advancing Diversity. And so it is for students to prepare them for the legal field, specifically black students. But we serve Dillard University, Xavier University, and Southern University of New Orleans, the local HBCUs in the city of New Orleans. And so that has helped me with legal education preparation. I've taken some legal classes to see what that's like. They've encouraged me to get legal internships, LSAT preparation, and like I said, the admissions process in the fall.
Yes, I had an opportunity and right now serve on the Rodiac Club. It's an organization with community leaders around the Jacksonville area and businesses. They mentor students and get them ready for a prospective field, and it showed them the standpoint of how to operate in an organization or in a company. And I had the pleasure of serving as vice president this past academic year, and there's so much they instill into us, so much that I'm praying that it's on hold right now, that I hope to have an internship with one of the city council members in Jacksonville, Florida, so I can learn the government side of things. So because I want to add one of those into my repertoire that I can offer back when I become an HBCU administrator, that I'm familiar with government policy to get funding from the government, from the local city areas, still into the HBCU community.
You know, one of the things that we talk a lot about is how we can do a better job collectively telling the story of HBCUs. Certainly there's been documentaries about HBCUs. It's all in the news now. But I guess I was wondering, what advice would you give in terms of how we all can be ambassadors on a day-to-day basis to promoting these institutions, making sure that people know the narrative, the history, the story behind them? Chauncey, you want to start with you?
Do what you're doing right now. Doing what you're doing right now, because you don't know that someone is watching you. Someone is seeing what you do. You are the walking story right now. I know for myself, while I post on social media, my community involvement, everybody knows I go there with Waters University, and that opens up the door for me to have a conversation, not just about my institution, but other institutions that I do my research and study on, because we are a community. We are one. So just doing that and continue doing what you're doing, but taking it to the next level will be a big help.
Kailie?
Okay, excuse me. I believe you should follow your heart and go to your HBCUs and also for UNCF, because as I was on the way here, I had my crown in my hand, and about 8 people asked me, "Oh, did you win a beauty pageant?" And I was like, "No, I'm Miss National UNCF." And it was like, they was like, "Oh, well, what is it?" And so I had to explain it to them, and I was like, well, just make it more aware to the people who don't look like us and who do look like us.
Yeah, so you did a great service by simply explaining your role, which is wonderful, yes?
I would say, to piggyback off of Chauncey, just doing what you're doing, coming to workshops like these to continue to educate yourself. And I say to encourage your students and be intentional about what you say to them, because that's how I inspire younger students, because of the things that are said to me. I know there are people in the room that Dr. Page is back there, Dr. Barnes, Dr. Kimbrough, all of these people have poured something into me, and because of that, I feel confident to go up to a high school student and say, like, hey, you should do this, and I can support you because someone said, you can do that, I will support you. And so I think that the small things like that, and then encouraging a student to do something, and then they'll go and encourage someone else, and that's how we continue to tell that story.
So in listening to you all, you sound very hopeful about the future of our institutions. Anybody want to say anything more about that? The hope that you might feel towards?
I hope my kids will go to HBCU, so I'm excited. I know that they're going to be great, and they're going to continue to soar, and yeah, I can't wait.
So we have to stop the panel now, but thank you all so much for that rich dialogue. Please, let's give another round of applause for the student panelists, as well as Dr. Walter.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
At this time, please welcome to the stage Director of Strategy at UNCF's Institute for Capacity Building, Julian Thompson.
Oh, thank you. This is funny. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do it.
Can we give one more round of applause to the student panel led by Dr. Watson? I got to say, y'all, a panel like that makes me a little bit emotional. It makes me emotional because when I think about a person like Paulina becoming a future lawyer and supporting people in her life who are in a jam or who need an extra helping hand, I know that that helping hand is going to go right back into my community. When I hear somebody like Kailie talk about becoming a future doctor, and I know that black doctors reinvest in the communities in which they serve, I know that she's going to be a doctor that's more likely to support people who look like me. When I hear Chauncey talk about his role in going into seminary, and I think about the way that he's going to play a role in some of the most challenging moments of people in communities that he serves, I think about my own community and the supports that we need to be able to thrive and to move forward. And so I just want to once again give an extraordinary gratitude and appreciation, not only to those leaders that we heard today, but to the faculty, the administrators, and the leadership of Edward Waters University, of Dillard, and of Wiley for investing in the leadership that you heard on the panel today. So can we give those leaders a round of applause? Now, if you're in the audience today, you know that facilitating the type of leadership that we saw on the stage is no easy task. Facilitating leadership in higher education requires investment in people, developing capabilities and skills, professional development. It involves investing in processes, so many processes, from the moment that you start recruiting a student, the student success elements of freshman and sophomore year, picking majors, advising, extracurricular programs and connections. You all know that to facilitate the leadership you heard on this stage requires thinking about technology, because we do higher education in the 21st century. And we know that we have to lean into new ways of doing things if we're going to continue to engage students like the ones we heard today. The purpose of our conference is to think about the question of transformation, because higher education institutions, including and especially HBCUs, have to always consider, what more could we do? How can we think about doing things better? Who has good ideas that we can adopt and adapt? And how might we facilitate a better institutional effectiveness that we know will serve the students of the future? That's the reason we join each other today and over the course of this week at UNCF Unite, because we're here to build a networked approach to HBCU transformation. Our fundamental theory is that if we work in and with each other, that we will create the conditions for all HBCUs to be able to thrive. We're about to go into the meat of our conference. And so I just want to share a little bit of insight about what you're going to experience over the course of the rest of the day. First, right after this session, we're going to go into our first set of conference-wide breakouts. We're excited to provide more breakouts than ever in the history of this conference. And so we hope you take advantage of the opportunity to learn about things today in the context of mental health, student success, finance, digital solutions, and so much more as you think about how you and your institution can transform. This afternoon, we'll have a luncheon that'll include some community announcements. And then our afternoon plenary are called Torch Talks. And the Torch Talks are an opportunity to hear about some innovations in the higher education space that you may want to consider as you think about the next steps for your institution. Later on today, we've got a ton more breakout sessions for you to be able to engage in. And then this evening, we're going to do something called Table Talks. Table Talks does not involve any plenary speakers. It doesn't involve any presentations. It involves you at these tables in mixed groups with folks that hopefully you don't know, exchanging conversation about what you believe is the most critical priorities in the context of delivering on the promise of Black higher education. So we hope that you'll be able to join us for those table talks tonight. Did anybody notice that there's a number on your lanyard? That number is your table talk assignment. So if you peruse through the day today and see some folks who have that number on their lanyard, that's a person that you're going to engage in conversation with tonight. So be thinking about that as you move through the course of the day. As we do our work internally at this conference to think about HBCU transformation, we also want to begin to increasingly tell the story of what we're doing to ensure HBCUs are ready for the future. And in order to do that, we're going to use the best tool available to us in 2022, and that is social media. You'll see on either side of the screen a QR code. Can everyone take out your phones, please? If you take out your phone and you grab the QR code that's on either side of the screen, you'll be able to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. We want you to do a few things. Number one, follow us yourself, because we're going to start to populate these pages not only today but in the future with innovative content that may support you, your institutional partners, and others who are committed to Black higher education. Number two, and this is particularly relevant for today, for the conference this week, use our hashtags. We have two hashtags that we're prioritizing for the conference. One is hashtag UNCF Unite, and the second one is hashtag HBCU Promise. HBCU Promise, just like the promises you heard on the stage today. We're actually going to start something called a promise wall. And so if you or your colleagues or folks in your world start to think about what HBCU Promise means to you, go ahead and post it on Instagram and Twitter, and make sure you use that tag HBCU Promise. We'll come back to you later in the conference and share more about some of the HBCU promises that are emanating from this space. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning. Happy Tuesday. We're so pleased to have you with us. Enjoy the rest of your morning, and we'll see you after the breakouts at lunch. Thank you, everyone.
If my friends ask where you are, I'm gonna say